All right, we are back again. We had 7 up and running, but the horizontal live stream wasn't working correctly via my ATEM switcher. So just only had like a 14-minute practice session in, so I figured I'd just tear that down and do these both together again. All right, so musicbythemeasurespro.com, become a member, helps us pick what sheet music to do next, helps fund these videos, and my employment, or part-time of my employment. So we appreciate all you guys. If you guys have a song that you really want to learn, let us know. We'll break it down for you. Becoming a member is $9.99 a month. You get 10 pieces of sheet music. That's for you to learn and to practice with. Or like we're popular with teachers as well because having to be a teacher and source all your own sheet music oftentimes is a huge headache and hassle. All right, so I'm gonna actually pretend like I haven't started this at all, which is fine because I'm not that good of a piano player. So it'll be a good review for me. So right hand, left hand together on the intro is really what we're focusing on. Like I said, I spent a little bit of time on this already in the last live that got taken down via me, not YouTube yet. They have not come after me for poor piano playing. So we got 1 and right hand going 3 and, or no, 2 and 3 and a 4 and to go a little slower. Think that through. So we got 3 and a 4 and. All right, let's try to see if we can put those together right off the bat. 2 and a 3 and 4 and. 4 and 3 and just right hand now. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and. That idea solidified again. I got a little free practice in on that before. So before I noticed that the secondary stream wasn't working, I was working on this and just getting this back into my brain and talking about the complication of it for me, right? We got this 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and. Good, not bad by itself, but then when this left hand's coming in, and it's coming in early with that ghost note, so we got 1 and that just causes me enough, and then 2 and if you really want to think about all of it. The closest instrument in my mind to piano is drums, because you have this splitting of your fingers or splitting of your brain enough. Especially when eventually we put this pedal in, right? The sustain, we're going to be playing on 1 and 3 a lot. That's very drum reminiscent. And then to have to move these small appendages quickly, it's enough to get me. So it's such good practice, though, just sitting here, counting this out, figuring out what the rhythm has to be. So we got 1 and two, and yeah, I was actually right. Good job. So one. Now, forgive me if this ghost note doesn't always ghost correctly, right? Sometimes as I'm thinking this through, it gets a little bit too much on one. But it's supposed to sound one, just a little, not together. So one and one and nope. One and one. All right, let's try that with metronome and see what happens. I'm hearing it better. Again, you know, anytime you gotta practice a little bit before you have to play, it helps, right? And two, one, and two, and two, one, and two, and try to keep the pinky down. There's a lot going on in just this little bit of a measure, and that's kind of the fun thing about learning these songs. They can be challenging. And one, and two, and just trying to hear where that's gonna go. Two, and so let's just do right hand, and two, and one, and two, and two, and two, and two, and two. Oh yeah, I can do it at all. All right. As if you've watched a couple of these, you know I have to do it with metronome. I have to do it without, and then go back. One and two, and that's what it's supposed to be. Let's slow it down. One and two, and one and man, I am losing it, and that's okay. So, rough practices. Let's talk about it, because that's where we're at right now. We're having a rough practice. You know, I could blame this stream going down and me having to, like, move from, like, music playing brain to production brain. I point over here because the production stuff is all over there. And that's a shift, right? But what I've noticed from doing these lives, you know, we're on 7 of piano. We're on, like, 20 of some of these other ones. And yeah, they're about selling the sheet music and selling memberships, but they're also about me just getting better at these instruments and having to live in both those worlds of like producing, playing. It stretches your brain, much like I think metronome stretches your brain out a little bit. Every time I play with a metronome, I feel like I'm dividing this, having to stay with that constant reality of click, 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 but also having to do the nuances of the notes in between. It stretches you. It stretches your playing, as this does as well. So, like, feeling a little bit of anxiety about it not working out right now is okay. You gotta, I wouldn't say lean into it, but you have to understand it and, like, see that and be like, all right, I get that you're nervous. I get that the stream didn't work out and this is a bitch to play. Calm down. Do it again. Do it again. Much like at your own practice at home. Do it again. Just repeat. Repeat. Get the lesson you can get out of it right now and then move on. All right. Good little speech. So we got one, and I gotta lift that hand up. I don't, my right hand doesn't hear, can't think, I think is a different term to use, but can't hear where that is, right? One, pushing it on purpose, right? I'm trying to just force it through. Let's try something. This may work. This may be terrible. Let's try 25. Give myself enough space to hear that count together. Now, you know, because you've watched a couple times, right? Like it's easy for me to go 1 and 2 and I shouldn't say it's easy. It was easier when we. It's easier now, right? That keeping that sustained E is enough to throw me off through 1 and 2 and then the ghost note here. So let's just talk about all the things that are messing me up. And 2, yeah. 1 and so we got 1 and 2 and is how slow I need to play that, and then I eventually have to hear that with the click. So we got 1 and 2 and now we gotta get that 1 and 1 and 2 and there we go. All right, let's see what 25 has to tell us. And 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 and 2 and flam 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and and 2 and 25's really slow. All right, now that I can kind of hear it at 25, let's see if we can go back to 30, because now what I'm struggling with is just playing it in time at 25. And 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and don't know if you can hear that, but now the piano's distorting. We're gonna try something. Don't know what's going on right now. So bear with me as we have technical difficulties today. It's a Wednesday, right? Yeah. And 2 and 1 and 2 and try to get the left hand in. 1 and 2 and and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 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 and pushing that 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and Now, you might think that's an absurd amount of time to spend on half a measure, and I might agree with you. But the reality is, I'm teaching myself how to play this offbeat kind of early rhythm in my left hand, right hand doing something else, right? This. It takes that many times for me to learn something like that, right? 1 and 2 and 1. That distortion's about, but I guess it's rock and roll. And 2 and all right, enough of that measure. I think we're probably all sick of that at that point. It's a lesson I need to learn. If you're newer to piano, you can always skip that. That's an option as well. I feel like all these little lessons are, akin to me going into a book and learning a lot out of it, right? This song has all these little exercises to teach us. And then you're going to see it in a new song in the next week or so, and then you're going to be like, shit, that was out of this song. I love to do that in lessons, too. When somebody's like, hey, I'm ready to move on to a new song, I'm like, okay, cool. And then we pull up that new song, I go, hey, you see this correlation? Do you see this thing that's interesting, that's the same as we've already learned? That helps you learn. All right. Easy part of this measure. Our right hand is playing an A and a C. So we got 3 and 3 and appreciate the hearts. I'm not even having a rough day. I wouldn't even say I'm frustrated. I'm more annoyed. There's a difference there, right? Between frustration and annoyance. I don't even know if I can explain the frustration, and I don't even know if that's the right word. Annoyance. It's okay to be, in my mind, like annoyed that this isn't being played perfectly by me, right? I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to put into words how I'm feeling. That's an interesting thing to say, right? It might be because I don't have my blue blocking glasses on too, so the environment feels a little bit different, and that's a good thing, too. Get you out of your comfort zone. All right, I'm going to quit rambling and start playing piano. Because I don't think you guys are here for the rambling, and I don't know if you're even here for the piano playing, because there ain't much of that happening. All right, so I'm going to try to put these two measures together without metronome, just kind of try to get a spacing for this figured out, and then work on the last 3 measures. And then the reward for myself will be working on the verse, because that's pretty fucking easy for me at this point. All right. So we got, and yeah, I'm swearing now because, everything's not working perfect. And again, everything doesn't work perfect all the time. Persevere, you practice, you get better. And here's the thing, so, one more ramble, and then I'll move on. The thing is, go to live piano practice number 1. I've only done 7 of these, right? That's not that many. I've been playing piano off and on for years. But go to number 1 and see me struggle. And that should be the motivation for where you want to be. If you want to learn piano, because clearly you're clicking on the song because either you like piano, you want to learn piano. See where I was 7 ago of these. I'm not that much farther now, but I'm far enough into learning a new song, into learning a new skill set. And it doesn't take that much. It just takes time in putting in the same amount of time, or 30 minutes a day, 40 minutes a day. All right, now I'm legitimately done rambling and back to piano playing. Putting these two together. So we got this 1 and 2. We're going to turn that down, and maybe it won't distort, and we'll have to figure that out. 1 and 2 and... Now we got that little flam. That sometimes. sometimes. All right. One and to this F chord. So I think that's where my other annoyance came from. Is we're just having a technological struggle bus day with things. Let's pull up the mixer and see if we're getting it through there too. Part of me wonders. Don't know. All right. I don't even apologize. Things sometimes just don't work. All right. We're going to jump back into this because the goal is to learn this song. Start from that C again. We're going to do the old shut it off and turn it back on. So, what could it be? Clearly does it when it's, if you're just tuning in right now, I apologize. We're having some technical difficulties. All right, so I'm going to tear this off. I'm going to shut this down a minute, and we'll do a 7.5 in a minute as soon as I figure out what's up with this piano today. It's just one of those days. So I'll be